Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Gun Day Monday, Fun Day Monday, Gun Day edition of The Rundown. My name is Mike P. Waworski. I will be your host today. I come to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most from the host with the most here on The Rundown, where we bring you two-way views of conservative news, except I don't do this program by myself.
No, sir, you do not. I will be coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. My name is Craig DeLuz, coming at you from California. And once again, we're bringing 2A news and conservative views and having a good old time here on Fun Day, Gun Day, Monday.
Fun Day, Gun Day Monday. Craig, let's start off, folks. Give us the wrap. How did things go at the California Republican Assembly Convention this weekend?
Oh my God, it was phenomenal. We had a great time. Tons of really good speakers. I got to tell you, there is a stable of candidates running for office, statewide office, and congressional whatnot in California who are some awesome folks.
Right.
If you get a chance, go over to their website and watch some of the speeches. I don't know how many of them have a really good chance of winning in California. But they're definitely they definitely give a lot of hope to the future of California and members of the conservative movement in the state of California. That was phenomenal. John Eastman was there. He gave a great speech on Saturday night. The only thing that I regret was we did not get the Q&A. And I will just say this, Mike. You know what? He talked a lot and gave a lot of information, and I know that I've told you that I needed to see and needed to hear more evidence to truly believe that there was enough election interference and fraud to constitute basically to say that the election was stolen. John Eastman convinced me. I got to be honest with you. He convinced me.
Oh, he convinces you. I spend every day with you, but he convinces you.
You didn't convince me. He convinced me. But you were
right.
That's
what I'm saying.
Is what I'm saying. I'm saying you were right.
I spend every day with you,
but I'm saying you were right.
What did he tell you? What was some key points he showed you?
See, the voting machines had nothing to do with most of the comment, and a lot of what he talked about was a lot of the stuff that I had talked about was how they went about. In many cases, they went about changing the laws unconstitutionally. I mean, we're talking they weren't supposed, the legislature's supposed to change the law, and either the Secretary of State did or some election official, unelected election official did. So there were those.
Yes.
There were a number of instances where there were double counts of ballots and things along those lines. And he brought the numbers in terms of how many ballots it affected and specifically where it affected. And once again, Biden would have won the popular vote, but in terms of where they didn't have to cheat everywhere. They just had to cheat in the places where it would make a difference. And it sounds like what in essence happened was that's actually what happened. Now, anyway, it was very interesting. He's under major financial attack. I mean, he's being sued right and left. But anyway, this awesome guy, and I appreciate all that he's doing to stand up and fight for election integrity. But he gave a phenomenal presentation, and then Larry Elder on Sunday, once again, phenomenal speaker. It was all in all, it was a great event, and I did all of the broadcasting, the simulcasting of it. So it was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Well, it's good to have you on our team, Craig. So that's nice when it comes to voter fraud. So.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if you guys get a chance, just watch that presentation. It's at the cragop.org. Watch that presentation. If you get a chance to see or hear any of his other stuff, man, he makes a compelling case, and he's not a crackpot. He is definitely someone who is a solid conservative, who is a solid attorney with a lot lot of credibility.
I'm sorry. Are you saying I'm a crackpot? I missed that
you're
reference.
a crackpot. We all know this.
Right. Okay. Just want to be sure I caught the comment.
Look,
all right,
Mike. They do not realize. The audience does not realize this. But just before we go on air, Mike takes off his tinfoil hat.
Oh, I don't wear a tinfoil hat. Why would you cover up a full head of hair like this? I don't wear any hats, actually. I hate hats.
Anyway.
All right, let's roll on. Let's see. My weekend was work, work, work. That was about it. I didn't do anything fun this weekend, so it was just that was really. I'm searching my brain, looking over here in it. Nope, nope, no. I worked all weekend, so no fun. All right, it's time to get into some news. Let's get into some news. The news of the week. Here we go. First story up. Craig, you better put that back up. I don't remember what order is, so you have to. They're donating guns to the Ukraine. Okay, there we go. Now we can go back to individual screens. You listen. This. I don't know, Craig, if you saw this story or not. This was 400 rifles. They're actually carbine rifles that went to the Ukraine. This is kind of a cool story. This is right down the road for me. I know these people pretty well. This is Kiltec Firearms. Now, before everybody starts going crazy, Kiltec used to make kind of guns 20 years ago, and there's still a bunch of them out there. But in the past 20 years, they've been putting out some top products out there on the market. You know, anything from a 22 to a 308, and all in between. They make incredible stuff. One of the carbines they make is a folding carbine that you could just about put in like a long backpack. It fit behind the back seat of your truck or under the back seat in the car or something like that. It's called the Sub 2000. It takes, and there you go. You can see one right there. It takes Glock mags for the most part. They make them where they take other magazines as well, other styles, whether it be the old Beretta or the old or the Sig mags. But I'd bet you 90% of them are made so they take Glock 17 or Glock 19 mags or any of the extended Glock mags for 9mm. So this lets you put 9mm, accurately downrange up to 100 yards, kind of stuff. Well, they have a client that's out of Odessa there in the Ukraine, and he frequently bought firearms from them. This was they do international sales, and this person had an order for 400 of these rifles, which is roughly $200,000, and which is cheap, by the way, because these guns go for a couple bucks more than that. So they must have been getting the old bulk discount price. And all of a sudden, when the invasion started, the buyer went silent. They had an order pending. They were ready to ship. Could not get a hold of this buyer, but they had all of these. Rifles ready to go, carbines ready to go. Well, listen, and I'm telling you, the Kellgrens. That's the last name of them. The Kellgrens. They're the ownership group. The owners at Kiltec sat around and said, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? George, the patriarch of the program of the company there, he is from Europe. Before he moved to the States, so he's probably got more insight into what's going on over there than you and I do, Craig. And he decided, I'm sending these carbines between him and his team. We're sending these carbines to the People's Resistance Movement there in the Ukraine. They were able to identify them with some assistance, and they sent them over. And it's not $2,000. It's it says here, it's $200,000
worth of
200
G, 200 grand.
It says $2,000 worth of rifles right there.
Well, it's hard for you. It's probably hard for you to see it, but it's 200.
Oh, it's 200G. I see it. It's a G. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, because my monitor's a little bit out of my view. It was at a glance. I took a look at it. I apologize, folks. So 200,000, 200G. So they sent it over, and They got the State Department to approve it, and they shipped these rifles. Now we don't know if they're there or not yet, but they shipped these rifles over to the leader, I guess, of the government-backed, Ukrainian government-backed People's Resistance Movement, whatever the proper name for that is. So these firearms, these carbine rifles, have been sent over there to help, kill communists. So that's nice.
This is what's so neat about it. So it took them 4 months to get the original, to get approval to ship them over to the original buyers.
Yes.
But it literally took them days to get it approved to be able to just switch who it was going to be going to. Yes. That's sort of, and once again, that they have to deal with stuff not just on our end, but on the other end there in Ukraine as well. So it was nice to see that was able to take place. And once again, see that you got a company that's willing, that's like, look, okay, we're gonna help people to be able to fight for their own freedom and their own
Yeah.
liberty. And I think that's the sort of assistance that we here in America ought to be providing, is helping once again, whether it's humanitarian aid or whether it's that sort of military aid, helping people to be able to fight for themselves. And I think it's exemplary of those, in particular, the small businesses that are in the firearms industry. A lot of people go into it because they believe in liberty and they support liberty, and it's nice to see the actions supporting it as well.
Yeah, listen, if you've never held one of these before or had the opportunity to shoot one of these, go check them out. Listen, here's even more reason to go check them out. And these are very, very basic, the way these operate. And like I said, if you've got that Glock magazine, you're already there. So a lot of people that own Glocks will get these, so they have that ability to reach out a little bit further if they needed to in an emergency. So just even more reason to support people like this. This is a great business. It's a Florida-based business, and they do wonderful things in the community. And now they're doing wonderful things in the world community to help fight communism. I can't wait to go buy my next Kiltec and support them killing communists.
Excellent, excellent. That's a good idea. Caltech, thumbs up.
Two.
Two thumbs up.
All right, let's roll on, Craig. I saw this, and the only thing that could have made this story better is if it was the Cowboys, but because Craig's a Cowboys fan, but even his Cowboys wouldn't do this. I don't think Jerry Jones would do this. I'm not sure who the ownership group is there up in the Broncos. Do you know who the ownership group is for the Broncos?
I do not, but I do believe that they are in the process of selling them.
Okay, all right, which may be why, because they're on the way out. They don't care, kind of stuff. The Denver Broncos. Now, Craig, I bring this story up because, this past year, the football had a full season. They had the shortened COVID nonsense, the no players in the stand last season, and then a couple of 2-3 seasons before, their ratings were really, really down when it came to the whole kneeling down on the flag and during the national anthem thing. It seemed like they found any way possible to drive fans away. And listen, they Roger Goodell there made the same mistakes that Manfred made over in the MLB, thinking that he was bigger than the league itself, and did not react. Allowed this stuff to go on, and fans said, "We're done. We're boycotting." And they said, "Well, the NFL's huge. We don't have to worry about it." And they watched their market value just drop. Greg, I know at one point I saw that looking at the NFL stats, and this is even pre-COVID because we know that skewed a bunch of stuff, but that their viewership was down as much as 50%. That they'd lost that much fan base, and it was hurting them. It put a hurting in the shorts of a lot of people out there with the NFL. Craig, and I saw this story and I thought, well, I guess they haven't learned their lesson about staying out of politics, because, I mean, if we could jump from one controversial issue to another, they just did it. I'm just assuming that the next thing they're going to do is going to have something to do with abortion. Because here you go, you got the Broncos, you go out there in Denver, and they're sponsoring gun buybacks. All right, Craig, let me get your official position here on gun buybacks, and tell the folks what's the purpose and the use of gun buybacks.
The purpose of a gun buyback program is to make politicians and anti-gunners, it's to make them feel good and like they're actually doing something. It's also a great way to how shall we say, it's a great way to dispose of crime guns. Because especially when police departments do them, they have a no questions asked policy. And we all know that they never, ever look into the backgrounds of those guns. We know that never, ever actually happens. But the fact is that 9 times out of 10, the firearms that are obtained in these sorts of things are almost never like real guns. That over here, I'll show you an example. See, like these are the types of firearms that you see here. Now, these are ones that have been kind of chopped up, but you see that they're like old revolvers. Not the quote unquote firearms that they claim they want to try and take off the streets. Um, but what was interesting about this one in particular is they decided that they're going to turn these into garden tools. So basically, it's how shall we say, guns for hose.
Yeah. I didn't know Kamala was involved in this.
um, but the fact is that even people, every study ever done has said that no, these things do absolutely nothing to reduce violence involving firearms. Even advocates even people who are part of the anti-gun movement say, they really don't do anything to reduce violence involving firearms. It's not a tool problem, because that's what a firearm is. It's a tool. It's a people problem. And unless you're going to, I don't know, lock criminals up when they commit crimes, let people know that there are consequences for doing bad things, then you're not going to reduce the amount of violence involving firearms. You're not going to reduce the amount of violence, period. And you're definitely not going to reduce the amount of violence involving firearms. So that's kind of my take on this.
Just so the people of Denver know, just so you get some numbers here rounded out. Let's say that the Denver Broncos said that they are the ones that are providing all of the money to buy back these guns. Well, first off, you can't buy back something that you didn't own in the first place. But let's say they're going to give $100 per gun or $200 per gun or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Do you really think that the ownership group of the Broncos is going to take that money out of their pocket and donate it? No. That's not how it works. It's going to come out of somewhere, some end, some other line item. You're going to pay more for your tickets. You're going to pay more for hot dogs. You're going to pay more for something along the way here. For every dollar that came out and went towards somebody turning in a gun they found in the garage, or a gun that they wanted to get rid of so they could go buy a new gun, by the way, happens all the time. That money's gone. Let's say the police department was there, right? Well, they had to pay the police department to be there, or the police department had to pay for their individuals to be there if they were volunteering their time. Even if they're volunteering their time, you still have to pay for the equipment. You still have to pay for the liability insurance. So guess what? That's a little bit more out of your tax money that's coming out there in Denver as well.
What are the chances that the police department union would allow them to donate their time?
You can't donate your time unless you show up in your civilian clothes. You're using the county equipment or the city equipment to go, and the wear and tear on the city equipment while you're there as well. You have to provide for liability insurance in case a truck runs through the crowd and runs the officer over. He has to be covered as if he's on duty. All right. Now, the officer could take his salary and donate it back, and that would probably be the only way to be called a volunteer service, but there's still costs involved in this, and that's going to come out of the taxpayer's pocket. Right. Let's say, and we've seen this before, so I'll throw them under the bus. Walmart says, well, we'll give you the money, to buy back the guns. Again, where do you think that money comes from? All right. That money doesn't appear out of thin air, and you can damn sure bet that the owners are not taking it out of their pocket. That doesn't happen.
When you see the cost of your toilet paper go up, you know why.
Yeah. So it's costing everybody money. It's doing nothing. Like Craig said, it's feel good. We got to do something. We have to do something. Craig, we used to do at the gun store? We'd get those crap guns that would come in and people go, I found this in the garage, or my grandpa left it to me. I want to trade it in. And they're worth nothing. Nothing. Like barn finds, like an old shotgun from the 40s that was, they made millions of them, worth nothing. We'd put them in a large garbage can, stack them up, and wait for the gun buys to come into town. I'd give those people $25 for those guns, right? And then when the gun buy would come to town, we'd take them out, run them down there, get $100, $200 a piece for them, and you just log them out as turned over to the police department. So it used to be money making for us,
Well, and then there's also I know some FFLs actually go to those shows, and if they they'll ask people, no, take a look at what they got. And if they got something that's worth something, they'll offer them more money than the gun buyback program would have offered them. And
exactly.
Once again, they walk away with more money, and a lot of times wind up with a better firearm.
Right. And now in many jurisdictions, they've made that illegal, so you can't do that. And Craig, if it was really about getting guns off the street, right? Because an FFL gets them and then, cleans them, repairs them, and then to sell them, they must do a background check.
Right.
Well, hey, they're your background checks we're doing. If background checks work, what's the problem? Oh, you want to get rid of guns altogether. You don't want just guns to go to people that should. Oh, I see. So once again, your agenda is remove all guns, all places, not just make sure the right people have the guns. Got it.
Exactly.
Got
They
it.
make it
Got it.
once
Got it.
again about the guns, not about the bad people doing bad things with the
Exactly right.
guns.
Exactly right. All right, let's roll into some more good news. Let's talk about some pilots. Pilots, good people. Craig, you know how to tell a pilot across the room?
How?
Just wait, he'll let you know. That's a good. That's a pilot, folks. It's a pilot joke. So pilots from JetBlue, it was a JetBlue, a Southwest, and American Airlines. Once the mask mandate was extended this past weekend, late last week, they said, "Hey, you know what? We're done with this. We're done with this." And they got together from those three different airlines, and they sued the federal government. They're suing the CDC. They're suing the TSA. They're suing everybody involved that says they have to wear masks on these airplanes. The CDC guidance, Craig said, okay, listen, masks, you were done. We don't have to wear them. They're not effective. Here's a study after study that says they're not effective at all. If anything, it affects health detrimentally. If you're at the point where you need to wear a mask, then you should probably be staying home. Because they don't protect as well as you think they do. At least not the mask we're using, Craig. These. Hey, look, I made a mask. It's got a flower on it. It's happy. Wear this. These are not surgical masks that doctors are wearing in hospitals. Where, by the way, the operating room is probably already about 99% germ free. So we're only asking the mask to do 1% of the work, not 100% of the work in a hospital. Because you hear that all the time, Craig. Right? Oh, I wear one in a hospital for 6 or 8 hours. Medical staff does. Yeah. That's right, and you also you're cleaning it 100% of the time. The hospital. It's not like going to a Walmart or an airline, or going to an airplane and having to wear these masks. The pilots have
Mike,
also said
one of the points that they
Go ahead.
make. Oh, I say one of the points they make in this lawsuit is that it encourages unruly behavior. And I mean, how many incidents, how many news reports do we have to hear about unruly passengers or people getting in fights over masks and mask mandates? I think there's tons of evidence to support the case that they're making. But once again, with this extension, there's a process that you go through. And one of the things they say in their lawsuit is they didn't follow that process. There was no public comment. There was nothing. They just did it via an edict.
And we're talking about the 30-day extension.
We're not even
make sure we're
following
clear
the
on that.
science.
Yeah.
Why is
make sure we're clear on that.
Why is an
just so we're clear? We're talking about the 30-day extension.
Yes,
it was the 30-day extension. Yeah.
Go ahead. Supposedly airplanes, they have these filtration systems now that are supposed to be so darn good. It's like, if that's the case, what's the science behind extending it on airplanes and not everywhere else?
Well, because it's federally controlled.
Right.
Because it's their last place where they can squeeze it and say you're going to do what we say, or you're going to get spanked. It's literally the last place they could do things. I mean, inside of a federal building, inside of anything, federally controlled area is what the last things they have. And of course, do you think TSA wants to give up anything that they have? Do you think that happens? Do you think the FAA's finally got some teeth? They want to give up anything they have? Like you said, Craig, I think there were 2,500 incidents last year of during 2021 of these mask violations. I'm sorry, of 2,500 incidents that were reported for unruly behavior, and over 75% of them were primary cause masks.
Right.
If you look at the secondaries, probably in there also as well. But like you said, this is causing incredible unruly behavior. It's causing health issues for the pilots. Right? It's extended limited oxygen deprivation. Do you really want the person who's flying your plane to be a little sleepy from wearing a mask all day? It's not what you want.
The only people in the cockpit it's the same people in the cockpit, and they're tested, right?
It depends on the airline. Remember, we went through this not too long ago, where the pilots were told if they get vaccinated, they won't have to wear the mask, and they got vaccinated, and they said, you still got to wear the mask. Just more lies from the CDC. And it's good to see finally somebody from this industry, standing up and saying, we're done. We're fighting this last 30-day edict. You got to show us proof. Unfortunately, unless they get some sort of injunction in the next day or two, Craig, this will take months to go through the court. So it might be a moot point. But it's good to see that there are people out there willing to fight. So that's
but the
good.
one thing I think it does do is it sets the precedent, hopefully, for the next time they try this stuff.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a next time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There will be. What did Fauci said this week, right? He got interviewed by old George Snuffleupagus, interviewed him and said that if this Omicron variant that's out there, if it turns bad, we might have to go back and do all this all over again. But everybody needs to continue with their vaccinations and boosters. So, that's Fauci had to get back on the TV. He couldn't be off for too long. Sitting back there in irrelevancy land.
Dr. Fakey.
Yeah. All right, let's move along. Move along. Nothing to see. Move along. And we're going to talk about racism. Craig, Disney World hates you. They evidently they have no problems with the issues dealing with African Americans this week. It's American Indians that they're protecting this week. You know how Disney does their marching bands? They bring them in from around the country, and they get to march up and down Main Street down there for their parades, and they do them during spring break and over the summer, and then over at New Year's during the college football season. Well, there's a group out of South Texas that came in from a high school, and the high schools are I guess they're the Indians, Craig. They're the Indians is their nickname, and the cheer team is the Indianettes. Well, I guess if you look at, you could just kind of see right there, if you look at that image on the screen, Craig, their cheer outfits have a little bit of white fringe on the bottom and a little bit up around the top. So that white fringe is evidently an homage to the Native American dress.
Right.
Well, that's it right there. So this is as offensive as it gets right there. You see those girls, want to see what they're looking at. This is all offensiveness in one picture. They're wearing a white fringe on their uniform. Their names are the Indianettes, and they're in the middle of doing the tomahawk chop. Okay. Like any Braves stadium, your Braves baseball game, like any FSU Seminole game, they do the tomahawk chop, right? Well, this is it. Disney went crazy. It's racism. It's absolute racism.
What they're saying is during their thing, they said scalp them, right?
Yes.
During their routine. Matter of fact, here, let me play a quick video of it. I was able to pull down this video. Check it out. So in other words, saying scalp them, Indians, scalp them is racist. Now, I don't know.
Listen. First off,
go ahead.
If you look at the group of girls and you do a little research on the story, many of these girls are Indian in heritage, American Indian in heritage.
Right.
So again, this comes back to the story of where people from around the country tell the Atlanta Braves all the time, you need to change your mascot. It's offensive. Yet the Native American tribes in the Atlanta area say, no, we're cool with this. This is okay. We're partnered with them. I'm offended for somebody else. Well, guess what? Nobody there's offended. All right. They take pride in their team. They take pride in their heritage. And if you've ever done any research at all, folks, you'll find out that the majority of the Mexican population, the traditional Mexican population, going back to Incas and Aztecs along those days and lines, are blood related, DNA related to American Indians in the Southwest. Okay? So when you got a major Mexican Hispanic town in southern Texas, that bloodline is the same bloodline as Native Americans. I mean, it's just, do a little freaking research first before you get upset on somebody else's behalf. All right.
Well, and went
Disney, of course. Wow,
well, I'm sorry, and especially, are you going to go? Disney is about as woke as I mean, they are as woke as anybody, as any organization, as any corporation. They go out of their way to be woke. First of all, to get mad at Disney behind this, I'm like, you know what? I'm mad at Disney for being woke, but to then say, oh well, Disney is racist and hates. I'm like, really. I don't know. I just think that in the end, with all of this, man, it's, why can we not just look at it and say, okay, you know what? If that bothers me, and that's just me. I'll get over it. This is not racist. It is not. It is literally, in my opinion, they are celebrating a culture. It is part of the diaspora of what is now American, right? Like we said, we talked about this. We celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We celebrate Juneteenth. Yes. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo. All of these are all Chinese New Year. All of these are all a part of becoming a part of America. And I'm sorry, we may not always celebrate it the way you'd like to celebrate it. We may not always honor it the way you would like to honor it. But you know what? The fact that it is becoming mainstream part of our society is worth recognizing.
Yeah, this is, by the way, just so you know, it is national, or not national. It's Women's Month. March is Women's Heritage Month in the United States, because I guess we forgot about women the rest of the year. So I don't know.
Yeah, my wife won't let me forget.
Yeah, all year long, right?
It's Women's Month all year long.
Yep. Exactly right. Yeah. Well, so it's just more Disney nonsense. They did their political grandstanding last week. And then, Craig, their brand of woke is so uneducated. Somebody comes to them and says, hey, this is wrong. And they go, okay, it's wrong. And then a week later, they're like, wait, is that really wrong?
Well, but by the way, Mike, sorry. You notice in this article from The Guardian, they couldn't help but talk about the Don't Say Gay bill. Like it has anything to do with this, right? Oh, well, Disney's already under fire for their response to the Don't Say Gay bill. Well, first of all, there's nothing in the bill that says don't say gay, number one. Number two, there was no response. Their response was meh. I mean, they're like, we're a corporation. We don't need to comment on every piece of legislation that comes through the state legislature. Yep. So there was no response. Anyway.
Disney did it because the large population in their union of the LGBT members, they objected to it afterwards, and Disney felt they had to say something because they had all their employees up in arms, and they didn't want to have a walkout of their people. So Disney did this. Can we afford to not give a couple of donations right now, rather than have our people walk out on us during spring break, our busiest time since COVID started? I think we should probably make a statement. Mm-hmm. So did you listen? They're cowards for having done that, and but it is the backstory of it. I guess what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do?
Well, I think that eventually you need to stand up to quote unquote employees and let them know that politics don't have a place at the workplace, and if you decide that you want to walk out. Here's the thing, if you let your employees hold you hostage, then that's exactly what they're going to do. So you have to sacrifice some profits during that time. But you know what? In the end, the next time they go to think about that, well, I'm going to walk out. Then they're going to stop and think. When they lose their job, they're going to think twice about it.
Let me tell you what's going on here, and I don't know if you've got this going on out there. I know we got to get rolling here. A lot of places in Florida, they're all back open again. The COVID's gone. All right. It's been open for a very long time, but everything's half open. Mm-hmm. Restaurants are half open. I'm sorry, those sections are closed. Stores or cashiers or lines are longer because we don't have as much help anymore. So you have to wait longer as a customer because these places still have not filled their employees. They have not employees have not come back to work. They're still funding they're getting from the feds, right? Or they found other ways to make do, and they don't need these jobs anymore. So if you go to a restaurant and it says, "Sorry, we're only half open," now you look around and you know what you see? Pretty much the same amount of employees working there. But it's like the employees have gotten together and said, I don't want to work as hard now as I did before. So I'm going to say I can only do 3 tables instead of 4, and they're going to have to shut down some sections. Well, guess what? I've stopped going to those. A lot of people I know have stopped going to those. If you can't work a little harder, work a couple hours longer, then you don't deserve to be in business. You got hours you're posted. You want to be open, you be open. We appreciate you coming back and trying to be part of the society again. But if you're going to use this as a crutch and an excuse for the rest of existence, I'm not giving you any more of my money. That's all there is to it.
I hear you. All right.
Go ahead. Take us into the parting shot, Craig. Go ahead.
All right. Going into the parting shot. Well, for those of you who are looking right now and looking at whether it's the economy, whether it's where we stand on the world stage, you know that things were dramatically different a little over a year ago when we had President Donald Trump. But hey, you know what? Was it all worth it? Was it worth getting rid of the mean tweets? And that's what the whole point of this one is. Did you get rid of the mean tweets? Yes. And what did it cost you? Everything. And everything. It's funny to watch the Biden administration and Democrats say, none of this is my fault. None of this is Biden's fault. The fact that there's crime in the streets have gone up, that violent crime has gone up, the fact that inflation is running rampant, the fact that our national foreign policy is now a laughing stock of the entire country, and nobody respects or is afraid of the United States. I mean, you look in area after area after area, we are worse off than we were under Donald Trump, and yet somehow they don't want to accept the fact that this is you. And by the way, the people who I blame the most about this are those Republicans or people who call themselves conservatives who decided that they could not support Donald Trump because he was too mean.
Yeah, it's it. Listen, that's probably 10%, right? 20% of that vote that went out there. You were offended by mean tweets. You listen, I don't know if we should call you, Republicans in name only, because you're not anymore. Now that you've voted Democrat, guess what you are?
You jackasses in elephant suits.
Yeah, that's it. Don't ask to come back to where we are now. So,
all right, Mikey, how about a quick shout out to our sponsors before we go?
Let's say hey to our good friends at Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, and of course, the fine folks over at the California Republican Assembly.
Yeah, folks, check them out. Please make sure, visit their websites. And if you see something there that you like, if you want to join, if you want to buy some products, please make sure to let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And remember, like, share, subscribe. Folks, you can watch us on OpsLens. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Facebook. You can even just listen to the program wherever you get your podcasts. So check us out check us out, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same.
Thanks for joining us. Pass us around. See you on Taco Tuesday.